Morning and welcome back to Question Sense with me, Matt. Okay, slight change of venue. I thought I'd attempt to film one in the garden today, so we'll see how that goes. If it goes terribly, I do apologise. Okay, so not so much a review today, more of a discussion. Obviously I've always been into fragrance, but over the last sort of few years I've discovered Fragcom on YouTube and things like that. And I wanted to talk about compliments. Now, this is something that some people seem to be quite obsessed with, and reviewers mention it a lot, and I've mentioned it quite a lot as well. And I wanted to sort of explore the cult of compliments. Are they important? Are they real? How do we get them? What's the best way to get them? Do we need them? Do we like them even? Because I think now, someone brought this up on Facebook, and this is basically the reason why we're going down this road. Someone said, when someone gives you a compliment, are they always actually giving you a compliment, or are they normally just recognising that you're wearing a fragrance? And I think there's a lot to be said for that. I think sometimes when you generally do get a compliment and there will be a sort of a conversation, which is the kind of compliments that I enjoy the most, provoke a conversation about the perfume that you're wearing, and you know, they're interested in the perfume, they ask what it is, they ask where they can get it, how much it costs, that kind of thing. That is a genuine compliment. Now, whether that comes from someone you know or a random stranger, and I think to get an unsolicited compliment, or you know, have a conversation with someone that is unsolicited, they're the most interesting and they're the most tricky as well. I'm lucky because of my job that I get lots of them. Now, my job involves me meeting, I mean, not so much at the moment because everybody's wearing masks and things like that, and it's just generally not, you know, a lot of people can't smell anything beyond their mask anyway, so it's not going to be quite as you know, common as it used to be. But because of my work, I used to get quite a lot of compliments before the pandemic. Now, this again, I think is a lot more to do with being approachable and being chatty and sort of being quite upbeat. And obviously that encourages people to come in and talk to you. If you're in a bar and someone smells you or something like that, and that's always a good one as well, because you can then have the conversation about what you're wearing and that kind of thing. But I can't help but go back to this point where if you're wearing something very strong, or your perfume is very, you know, kicking out with huge sillage and stuff like that, people will smell it. And I'm convinced that a lot of the compliments that we class as compliments are people just simply recognizing that you're wearing a perfume. Now, I've looked through my collection this morning at the perfumes that I wear that generally are complimented. Now, I think there's always a chance you could wear any perfume on any given day, and if you're wearing the right perfume and you're in the right environment and the right person smells you, that will be a compliment. But that doesn't often mean that that particular perfume is going to be complimented a lot. I could wear something very oody or very strange, and the notes that someone picks up on will appeal to that person, and I may get a compliment on that perfume, but that doesn't necessarily mean that this perfume is one that's going to be, you know, garners a lot of compliments, and I don't think that's the case at all. I think when you look at your collection and you think, hang on a second, I've had quite a lot of compliments on this, wearing this one, I've had quite a lot of compliments wearing that one, that's when you start realising it's a complimented perfume. Now, there are two in my collection that are head and shoulders above others in terms of compliments, and the first one is Thomas Kosmala's Après l'Amour number 4. This, I've talked about this an awful lot, and this is basically a BR 540 style perfume. It's quite a masculine take on the BR 540 genre or DNA. It has some citruses and a lot of sweet woods and that kind of airy, saffrony, woody vibe that you associate with BR 540. That little bit of candy floss vibe. Less of the latex glove with this one, though, to be fair. But it has an extremely strong sillage, and that's where it comes from, I'm sure. My other most complimented perfume is Otto Perez's Bergamasque. This again is a very, I mean, a lot of people find this quite, you know, it's quite a polarizing perfume, but again, very strong sillage. The others that get perfume, the other perfumes I've got that get compliments a fair bit would be Club de Nuit Intense Man from Armaf. I know, it's a shocker. It's certainly garnered more compliments for me over the years than, say, Aventus, which obviously it clones. But I think the key to it is the Armaf has a very strong sillage. The other one that always gets, well, not always gets a compliment, that's a massive exaggeration, but the other one that gets quite a lot of compliments is Pardon by Nascimato, which doesn't have a massive sillage, but it does smell beautiful. The other thing that I've got to factor in when I compare fragrances and the amount of compliments that they generate is the amount that they're worn. Now, these two I wear to work quite a lot. Pardon, I very rarely wear to work. I wear this to work because it's such a strong fragrance and it's so long lasting. I know it's going to get me through a shift at work with no problem at all. It's still going to be very strong when I finish work and come home, so that's why I kind of like it. With Bergamasque, on a day like today, I find it very, very difficult not to wear Bergamasque when it's hot. This is a perfume that lasts and lasts and lasts, and in the heat, it seems to explode and just kick out, and it just morphs into something quite amazing the hotter it gets. So this gets worn an awful lot for work, and this gets worn an awful lot for pleasure, especially when it's warm. So that's probably something else to do with it. The amount that you wear a perfume and where you wear the perfume is going to have a massive factor on how many compliments you get wearing it. The other thing is, are we obsessed with compliments? Does it matter that we get them or not? I don't know. I like them because I'm quite generally, when I'm out and about, I'm quite a chatty person. I like a conversation. So it's nice to talk about something that I'm familiar with and I've got some knowledge on. So when you start a conversation up, especially with someone you don't know, you know, there's that whole point where it could be a bit awkward, but if you're confident and you're, you know, really into what you're talking about, suddenly you become a lot more interested than maybe you actually are. So I think it's, you know, I like a compliment and I like to have the conversation with people. Some people are quite shy and they're not interested in that at all. And in that case, that's fine. You know, nobody has to be sort of out selling perfume or talking about perfume, whatever, you know, it's not important. But for some people it is quite nice. So my sort of recommendations is, for me the perfect perfume for me for that kind of thing would be one with a sillage, one with a strong, not so much projection because that pushes out to a certain degree, but when you're walking around and there's a trail, it seems to invite more compliments, it seems to invite more conversation, which is what this is all about really. So a stronger sillage seems to be that you know, the key to having this conversation with people. Now, people that you know will generally know, if you're into perfume like me, they will know you're into perfume. So I'm not talking about compliments from friends or family, although saying that, if I get a compliment from my wife, that's pretty amazing. That doesn't happen very often whatsoever. So I class them as like the grail of compliments. But if you're, you know, talking to your friends and stuff like that, they will know you're into perfume. So they will generally ask you what you're wearing, or you smell nice and that. And that, I don't class that as a compliment. That's more of a conversation. So, you know, are compliments important to you? I mean, some people are obviously buying perfume purely for compliments, and then you have that whole genre where, you know, people use that awful term panty dropper and all the rest of that sort of thing, which is not a part of me at all. I find that whole thing quite abhorrent, to be honest. So I'm never going to go into that world. But then I'm a happily married man and have been for 20 odd years. So this kind of world has escaped me. It's not something I'm interested in. Maybe it's important to you, I don't know. But I generally find that people that watch this channel, or, you know, like mine and Rich's work, aren't looking for those sort of fragrances. I do appreciate that, you know, for single men and single women out there looking to meet somebody from, you know, a partner, for example, you know, an alluring perfume or a perfume that creates conversation is a good thing to have, and I fully appreciate that. It's just not what I wear perfume for. I think for me, wearing a perfume is quite a personal thing, and the only time I'm really considerate about other people or other people's reactions is when you're looking at what's the detrimental side of wearing a perfume that's too strong. You know, what negatives can come from wearing a perfume with a huge sillage? Well, if you're working in an office, for example, and you're sitting around the same people all day, you have a right, you know, you have what's the word I'm looking for? You have a responsibility to make sure that you're not wearing something that's going to drive these people mad. These people that you're sharing your day with, it can be an awful thing for them, for you know, for you to come into work sitting there belting out something that people are going to find offensive. I don't think that's a very good thing to do, and I don't think that's a very fair thing. So when you're working, you know, for what I'm trying to get across is, wear a perfume for you. Wear one that's going to suit your mood. Perfume's about you. It's about enhancing your mood, and it's about putting you in a great environment. And if you're wearing a perfume that is going to, you know, upset people around you, then don't wear it in that particular point, or moderate your sprays. I've talked about it before. I've got this wrong on many occasions, but the most infamous one for me was when I first got Nishane's Musica Oud, and I didn't realise how potent it was. I put loads on. I took my son to school, and I went to a cafe, and I felt ultra uncomfortable in the cafe because I realised just how strong this perfume was and the strange looks I was getting, and it made me feel awkward, and I had to get home and sort it out quite quickly, because the problem you've got is, if you are, you know, in an environment where you're becoming very self-conscious about the perfume you're wearing, the sillage is too much, the projection's too much, it's just too strong, you know, you're going to have a terrible time of it and you're going to have a really, really bad day. So just make sure that when you are choosing your perfume for the day or you're going out or whatever, you know, you've got it right and you've got your amount of sprays right, because get it right and you're the most enchanting, wonderful person there. Get it wrong and you're totally and utterly the cologne guy, which nobody wants. That's just an awful image. So it's a balancing act. You know, as I said earlier in the video, I enjoy the odd compliment, of course I do. And it is a good conversation starter. And as I say, if I get one from the wife, then I've, you know, what an amazing day that's going to be, because that very rarely happens. But just be in mind of what you're wearing and the environment you're going to be in, because that's going to have everything to do with how your day's going to roll out. Well, listen, I hope this has managed to get some thoughts going. I don't know how well this has worked out in the garden, but it's such a lovely day. And obviously the summer holidays are in full effect now, so everyone's at home. So filming at home is going to be an absolute disaster. So that's why I've been driven out into the garden. So hopefully this has worked all right. I'm going to be trying to get a couple of videos put in as quickly as we can, because I'm off on holiday very soon, so I probably won't be able to film while I'm away. So hopefully we can get a few stacked up to release while I'm off. I think that's about it. I mean, are compliments important to you? I don't know, tell me. Is it something that you chase? Is it something that's a sort of a side effect of wearing a perfume? Or is it something that kind of helps you with your self-esteem? Because if it does, then great. You know, wear perfumes that will get you the compliment that you're looking for. But the key to it is wear the perfume that you enjoy. Don't worry about everybody else. Just don't offend them with overly strong or, you know, inappropriate perfumes. But wear a perfume that makes you feel good about yourself, that makes you feel better, makes your day more enjoyable and enhances your mood, because that's what it's there for. Anyway, listen, thank you very much for your time, guys. We really appreciate it. I hope you're well, and we shall see you on the next video. Many thanks for your time. Cheers and bye.